What's good? It's Jordan. Today I'll be talking to you about wasted time can't be replaced. We have to understand in this life that time is valuable. Every day that we have in this life is valuable. We have to take it into account the importance of our lives and the importance of time, because when every day goes by, we've lost time. We have to understand that when we lose time, we're not going to get that time back. But what we do with that day and what we do with that time is important. There's things in this life every day that you can do to save on time, to actually value your time, to actually use your time wisely. Sometimes we may not use our time wisely due to the fact of the matter of we may be feeling lazy, we may be feeling like we're unmotivated, we may actually be feeling like we can't do anything in our own lives and we don't have the power in our own lives to actually change it. But there's still ways in this life where you can actually value your time and use your time wisely. Using your time to learn something, to do research, to understand the topics in your life that you need to work on, the things in the life that you understand you need to improve on. That is valuing your time. Taking time to understand yourself, taking time in nature to understand nature, taking time in the scripture to understand the word, taking time to build connections and understanding the connections that you may build. That is valuing your time. Taking time to actually work on yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, and quote unquote financially. That is valuing your time, because nobody else is going to do those things for you. And at the end of the day, you have to look at your life as important, because if you don't look at your life as important, nobody else will. There are other people that are doing the work in their own lives, and when someone else is doing the work in their own lives, they may not have the time to actually work on your life off of the guise of just wanting to do it for free, because nowadays with resources have become scarce. So many people will take into account if they really want to work on your life, unless you have resources to provide them. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that there will be people and can be people who want to help you and work on your life, but they will do it off of the guise of gaining resources from you by helping you improve your own life. But there's a way where you can do it without that format, and it's not also a bad thing if you want to actually take advice from somebody else, or, book consultations with therapists who are able to help you with your own situation, or, just speaking to people who actually may go through the same experiences that you may go through, and just gaining experience from that person, or having safe spaces or social circles where you can share ideas with one another and bounce off ideas from one another. At the end of the day, in this life, you can learn from everybody, and you can learn from any and everybody. And we have to understand that. And when we understand that and when we focus on that, then we essentially can learn within our lives as well. So we have to understand that time is very much so valuable. And, when you're younger, you don't understand this, because obviously when you're a child, you may just want to play. You may just want to hang out with your friends. You may just want to do the things that childs do. And that is fine. But there are people who are raised when they're younger to understand, to value time. Their parents understood that it is important that they place their children in the proper path, in the proper direction, the proper way. There are children who had followed suit and followed that way and ended up being quote unquote successful through it. And then there's other children who may have had that formula too, but they decided that they wanted to do their own things with their own life and not really cared about it. And then there's children who may have not had that formula, and they were able to actually not do those things. Some people may say, oh, they're a child, leave them, let them do what they want to do. But the thing is, when you train your child in the proper direction, in the proper way, when they grow up and they grow older, they already have that component instilled in them. As opposed to a child that may not have that component instilled in them. When the child has that component instilled in them, they're able to actually go forward, push forward, and move on and move forward. When a child does not have that component instilled, sometimes they may have to learn that at an older age, which time was wasted if they weren't able to learn it younger, or they may not learn it at all and just navigate life wasting time, not understanding, not growing, and not learning. So, we have to understand these key elements in this life today, because we can really lose focus and lose sight of the important things in our own personal life if we lose sight, essentially. Even conducting ourselves in relationships and social settings with other people, understanding that your time is valuable, and not wasting time dealing with people who are not beneficial to your personal life. If you're going to deal with other people, let them be beneficial to your personal life. And what I mean by that, people who encourage you, people who uplift you, people who essentially are people where you can share ideas with them, and they can share ideas with you, and you guys can grow from that. Not people who just focus on gossip, people who just focus on, the things of this world that actually don't bring benefits, not just people who really don't care and don't care about anything else and don't care about you, and just really essentially don't care for growth and the world as a whole. You have to understand the importance of who you place yourself around, who you hang around, because that is important. And when you're younger, again, you may hang around with just any and everybody if you weren't taught these things. And when you hang around with any and everybody, you can get influenced sometimes to do the wrong things. You could get influenced to be misled. And, the concept of stranger danger when you're young was far much important. But as we've grown up now with social media and platforms and publications, we've been open to access our personal lives to strangers. And we don't know these strangers. We don't know what their intention is at heart. And when we don't know their intention at heart, we can falter if we don't understand and figure out what their intentions is. So in this life today, understand that your time is valuable, and understand that, rest is important as well, because we don't focus on rest. We don't focus on the important things in our own personal life if we do not have guidance. And there were many people who did not have guidance. And when you do not have guidance, you're essentially placed in the back. If you aren't able to see through the barriers and destructive mentalities and dysfunction in society today, then you will essentially be placed in the back if you don't understand the concept of it. But if you understand the concept of it and you're able to actually defeat those challenges and those barriers through the help of the Most High, through the work of self, then you're essentially able to actually use your time wisely and know and understand that your time is important. Because there's going to be days where you may not want to do anything. You may not want to go to your career. You may not want to deal with other people. You may not want to change your situation. And everyone has those days. Everybody feels like that, no matter who the person is. Every single person in this world, on this earth, feels like that. But the thing is, understanding how you can push through that feeling, understanding how you can push through those negative elements to make change in your personal life. And, sometimes when you have to rest and sit down a little bit and just relax yourself, then you have a new perspective on life. You're able to have clarity in your life. Many times, especially with hustle culture, you have to be on the go and on the go and on the go all the time. And when you're on the go all the time, you could essentially destroy yourself being on go all the time. And sometimes it's best that you rest yourself, regain structure in your own life, restore your energy, and understand the importance of self and the importance of just restoring yourself. Preserving yourself is important. So today, I want to leave you with this scripture, and I hope that these scriptures can help you in your own personal life today. Ephesians 5:16-17. Making the best use of time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Colossians 4:5-6. Walk in wisdom towards outsiders, making the best use of the time. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Understand in this life today that your time is valuable, your time is important. Use your time wisely, because when you lose that time, essentially you will not be able to gain that time back. I want to thank you for watching today. Peace.